Hello everyone, this is Dave Neustraten, Managing Principal at Pivot Group. I wanted to welcome everyone to today's webinar, Straight Talk on Social Media. I can see from the attendee list we've got a great group of companies, friends, and other industry leaders, and we're thrilled that you could join us on this Friday here, beginning of August. I wanted to take a little bit of time here at the beginning and tell you a little bit about what we're doing with the Straight Talk series. This is the first webinar in a new series that will run bi-weekly on social media. Why are we doing a Straight Talk on Social Media webinar series? Well, what we see is that there are a lot of clients out there that are confused about what to do, have a hard time keeping up on what's going on, and are looking for some direction and insight that they can use to be successful with the new social media and digital marketing tools that are out there. So we're actually going to launch 2 webinar series. This series on social media is going to run every other week, and it's going to keep you up to date on the ever-changing world of social media and how you can use these tools to accomplish your marketing goals. So this will be the first in the series, with the next running on Friday the 20th. All webinars in the series are going to start at 11 o'clock Pacific time and last for 30 minutes. We're also going to do a Straight Talk on Telco Marketing series, and that series is going to run the last Wednesday of every month. So the first will be this August 25th, Wednesday the 25th, also at 11 o'clock Pacific time. And that Straight Talk on Telco Marketing series is going to cover pricing, service offerings and new service offerings, what competitors are doing, and new tips and tricks that you can use to be successful in today's competitive and challenging times. So stay tuned for more on Straight Talk for Telco Marketing. As I mentioned, this is going to be the first in a series. In the future, we're going to cover things such as Facebook advertising. Maybe you saw the news that Facebook advertising has increased 10,000%. That would be on our Twitter feed if you're following that. You may also be wondering, how do I increase my likers and followers? What are the do's and don'ts of social media? And all these acronyms, search engine optimization, search engine marketing, social media marketing, what do they mean? What should I be doing? And so we're going to cover a lot of those topics in the weeks ahead. Each Straight Talk on Social Media webinar is going to follow this rough agenda. Cover the news, go into a focused area, we'll emphasize certain points, do some case studies, and leave time for Q&A. And then we'll have an opportunity also at the end to send out a survey so you can give us your feedback on things you want to have us cover in the future. As we go through the webinar, please take a moment as you have questions and enter them on the question tab up in the far right, should be there. And we'd love to get your questions so we can address them during the seminar. If we run out of time, we will absolutely follow up with you afterwards. So this next slide covers some of the things that we are offering our clients and the industry relative to digital marketing. We have hired a new digital marketing specialist, Ian Desher. He's going to lead today's webinar. And Ian helps our clients with things such as the development of digital marketing plans. Companies wondering, what should I do and how should I do it? He also helps maintain social media presence and establish those, and also will help with things such as search engine optimization, search engine marketing, online promotions, etc. Ian is a great new addition to our team. He comes to us with an impressive educational background, with his bachelor's and master's from Yale. So as they say, hire people smarter than you, and we certainly did in this case. So at this point, I'd like to turn it over to Ian Desher for today's webinar on social media.
Great, thank you, Dave. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Straight Talk on Social Media. Let's jump right in with the news. As Dave said, each Straight Talk webinar is going to start with a recap of the latest developments in the world of social media. Since this is our first webinar in the Straight Talk series, we're going to go back a few months and recap the biggest developments. One thing that made a big splash back in April was the Facebook like button. 2 changes were initially made with this like functionality. The first, which got Facebook in a lot of trouble with users concerned about privacy, was that every user's likes were now public by default. If you declared you were going to like something, everyone would have access to that information. Facebook listened to customer complaints and within weeks had both made privacy settings easier to manage and had taken away the default setting that made your likes public to everyone. The second change was that like buttons now appeared on websites all over the internet. You can see here an example of the Facebook like button on the Internet Movie Database, which was one of the first sites to use the like button. Anyone adding this button to their site can choose for the button to say either like or recommend, and in the case shown here, when a user presses this button, if they're logged into Facebook, a note is immediately put into that user's Facebook wall saying that the user likes actor Isaiah Mustafa on imdb.com. That wall note contains a link back to the Internet Movie Database. You can see that this technology is potentially very powerful for word-of-mouth advertising, because if I'm your Facebook friend and I see that you liked a product on Amazon.com, for instance, I'm that much more likely to go to Amazon and take a look at it myself. So one big development in recent months has been this Facebook like button. We'll talk about what it might mean for small businesses at the end in just a couple of minutes. Also in April, Twitter started testing a new form of advertising called promoted tweets. Promoted tweets are a lot like Google-sponsored ads, but within Twitter. So when a Twitter user searches for Disney, as in the example shown here, a promoted tweet from Disney appears. In this case, they've done a promotion for Toy Story 3. And you can see that at the bottom of the ad, it says promoted by Disney Pixar. A couple of months after Twitter rolled out their promoted tweets, it moved on to promoted trends. Promoted trends are similar to promoted tweets, except that they show up on the right hand of the screen in the list of trends as opposed to in a list of tweets. At this point, Twitter is trying out the promoted tweets and promoted trends with only a few companies. Disney, Coca-Cola, Best Buy, Bravo, Red Bull, Sony Pictures, Starbucks, and Virgin America have all been among the first. So right now, smaller companies aren't able to use the promoted tweets and trends yet, but look for that to change in the coming months if Twitter finds this ad platform successful. Another recent development in social media is that according to rumors, Google is developing a social media platform to rival Facebook, supposedly called Google Me. These rumors were stirred up again both last week and this week when it was reported that Google has begun meeting with gaming development companies such as Playdom, Playfish, and Zynga, and Google CEO Eric Schmidt hinted at a partnership with Zynga and a social media site that would incorporate Google Buzz. And then just earlier this week, Google actually purchased a gaming company called Slide. So although Google hasn't confirmed anything at this point, the evidence points to a platform similar to Facebook with personal profiles and lots of gaming. One thing is sure, though, which is that if Google takes on Facebook, it's going to have to overcome its already failed social media attempts like Orkut and Google Buzz, neither of which took off in the way Google hoped. And by the way, for those of you wondering, you can see in this slide that Pivot has gained an exclusive first look at Google Me. Just kidding, this is my own mock-up, but I bet you were excited for a minute there. So that's the news, and here's one to watch. The social media company Foursquare appears at this point to be a rising star. Foursquare is location-based software users can download to their smartphones. In other words, you can use your iPhone or BlackBerry to tell Foursquare where you're located, which town, which city, which neighborhood, or within a city, and then they provide you with information about local businesses and entertainment. They even let you do things like check in at restaurants or become the mayor, which is the Foursquare term for the #1 fan, become the mayor of your favorite establishments and participate in their promotions. But how successful will Foursquare ultimately be? Well, in a recent interview, Foursquare CEO Dennis Crowley said he hopes Foursquare can be part of a new big three: Facebook, Twitter, and Foursquare. But according to a recent Forrester report, only 1% of U.S. web users use location-based software. It may also take a while for companies to get the hang of using Foursquare. Last week, David Teicher from Ad Age wrote that Starbucks recently ran a promotion through Foursquare so that anyone who became the Foursquare mayor of their local Starbucks would receive a discounted caramel frappuccino. But when Teicher became the mayor of his local Starbucks and went in to get his drink, the manager of that Starbucks didn't know anything about it. Teicher wrote that if companies are going to use the latest technology, like Foursquare, they have to make sure everyone is on board. So for now, Foursquare remains one to watch. Here are some of the things small businesses, and particularly those of you listening who are telecommunications companies, can learn about these news topics we've covered. With the Facebook like button, the takeaway is to think about and be smart about how to apply it. The Facebook like button is for specific content, not just liking companies in general. So you wouldn't want to put a like button on every page of your website, which might just be annoying for your visitors. Instead, consider adding the like button to pages you want people to notice, your latest promotion, a particularly good or unique service you offer, or maybe a news story about something you've done in your community. Company blogs, if you have one, are the perfect place to add a like button so people can indicate their interest in your blog posts and what you're saying there. Every time you add the like button to one of these pieces of specific content, you create the opportunity for someone who likes your company and your content to share it with their Facebook friends with the click of a button. The takeaway from Twitter promoted tweets and promoted trends is that they provide a great opportunity to be found. When Twitter actually makes these forms of advertising available to all companies, Pivot will make sure to let you know about it and give you some tips on how best to use it. But for now, the takeaway is that promoted tweets and trends offer you a great way to be found on Twitter and to be associated with specific keywords. For instance, if your company is in a town called Smallville, you might want to have a promoted tweet so that when anyone searches for Smallville on Twitter, looking for people tweeting about your town, your company's Twitter feed is the first to appear. So at this point, the takeaway for promoted tweets and trends is that they look like a good way to be found on Twitter, a good way to break through the noise of millions of people tweeting at once. For Google Me, the takeaway is just not to be too concerned about Google's dominance in this area. As I said a minute ago, we've watched Google fail with a couple of social media ventures so far, Orkut and Google Buzz. So don't expect Google Me to take over and replace Facebook. Realistically, that's probably just not going to happen. This may be the one nut that even Google can't crack. Finally, though Foursquare is primarily being used by restaurants and other entertainment-driven companies, the takeaway is to watch for two things. First, that everyone is trying to figure out how to best use Foursquare at this point, and even big companies like Starbucks are flopping, as I said a minute ago. So don't worry about not jumping on the Foursquare bandwagon just yet. And second, watch for other possibilities for local businesses to be made available through Foursquare. Again, for our customers who are telecommunications companies and local service providers in other ways, Foursquare may help you be found by the people in your area. Obviously, the Straight Talk webinars will keep you updated on the possibilities behind Foursquare.